Wow, out of the gates, ready to go. Welcome into this special live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you, and we got a lot to talk about today. Normally, we get going about 5 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific time, or 2 o'clock Pacific time, but we could not wait to bring you today's live show, and so we figured we'd get here a little bit early as we react to this crazy day. DK Metcalf puts in a trade request. Tyler Lockett officially announces his departure from Seattle. We will discuss all of it here on today's program. We're going to go over everything you need to know on the news and rumors front with both Metcalf and Lockett. We're going to do a mailbag coming up. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. And then our final segment, we're going to talk DK Metcalf trade destinations as well. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling. We're coming at you from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday afternoon. And what a day it has been already, folks. And the day is still young as we are just a few days away from NFL free agency officially beginning. Let us know where you guys are at. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling today. And I got to tell you, I'm emotional right now. I am a glass case of emotion right now. This is a lot to take in. All right? I mean, Tyler Lockett, him leaving was going to be hard enough. And then DK has to be a jackass and announce that he's requested a trade within the hour of Tyler Lockett saying his goodbyes. Couldn't even give Tyler Lockett the time or day to have his moment in the sun, to be honored by the 12s. What an asshole move from DK Metcalf. Jasko from Covington, Dominic in Rochester, Legend Life in Topeka, Michael in Honolulu, Mansfield, Missouri for Marty. We got Legend in Topeka, Kansas. We got Scott in Spokane. He's actually in Titusville, Florida right now as well. Let us know where you guys are watching from as we bring you this show today on a very eventful. This is might be the craziest day for the Seattle Seahawks since Russell Wilson was traded. It is right up there, folks. It is a crazy day already. Let's ask you. Let's start with the DK front. Should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? He's put in the request. Should they honor the request? HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. What do you guys think? On the ones and twos today, Brett Alper is here with me. He is going to be here with us on our Wednesday live shows going forward. We're excited that he is here. Alper, breathe in. Breathe out. Let's start with DK here. Wow.
I mean, it was shell-shocking. We were getting ready for the live. We're like, okay, we're going to change it a little bit for the Tyler Lockett news. And then just bang. Trade request, DK Metcalf. And we're like, oh, okay. All right. We got a whole bunch and like, wow. I mean, I can't believe it. There was all rumors about it. We were talking about it with the Packers host, Joey Peterson, on if it would ever happen. And we were like, they're not going to trade.
A lot of you got mad at me for even talking about the idea of trading DK. And I told you so. I told you it was a real possibility. So some of y'all could suck it. And it's a very real reality at this point. I hope, Alper, that this is, and we'll discuss this more in detail in a moment, a negotiating tactic, and that they get an extension done. He comes back to Seattle. It is more commonplace now than ever before that guys use a trade request and they don't really want to leave. They use it as a negotiating bargain.
Exactly.
And then they end up coming back, getting a new deal, and it's like it never happened. That is more common than ever before. But it still is a trade request. And he still doesn't have a new contract. This is as close as we've ever been to DK not wearing a Seahawks uniform. It's a very real possibility.
It's extreme possibility. Obviously, you want DK to come back, but are you going to be willing to pay him someone Because he said, I want a contract extension if I'm traded. He's 1 year left. No one's going to take a 1 year rental. Is someone going to give him $100 million, $120 million? Could a team like the Patriots, could they trade with $128 million in cap space? They want to pair somebody with Drake May. Could they be a team that could overpay for DK Metcalf? And the Seahawks, if you give them a trade, you can't really say no.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Should they honor the trade request? HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. So far, we've asked, will the trade happen? 59% of you saying yes, 41% saying no. Now, the other news of the day. Let's talk about Tyler Lockett here. Tyler Lockett, very cordial. I'm glad they got to let him announce it, by the way. It wasn't announced by Schefter or Tom Pelissero or Rap Sheet. There was no fight between Rap Sheet and Jordan Schultz to break the news. Tyler Lockett got to announce it himself.
Yes.
And the Seahawks changed their avatar to his jersey number and said all the right things. I'm glad that he got to have his moment for about 30 minutes until DK decided to spoil it and be a jackass. But Tyler Lockett, this isn't shocking news at all. We've been saying it for months that Tyler Lockett would be gone. Didn't make financial sense to bring him back on a $30 million cap hit at his age and the money that it would cost. It's a sad situation. I love Tyler Lockett a lot. He's from my hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He'll always have a special place in my heart. He meant a ton to this Seahawks team. But this is a business, and I'm a business man. And Tyler Lockett, it just didn't make sense to bring him back with the way the numbers shaped out. Like, it sucks, but that's the reality of the situation, Albert.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. He's getting up there in age. You can bring in a new guy. You don't want to pay him. It was, unfortunately, it was a cap casualty.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, one example, all right? Just a name to throw out there, okay? Tyler Lockett would have taken on a $30 million cap hit, and the production we saw from him was around, what, 300 or 600 yards receiving this past year. I could go get Tutu Atwell for similar production, a younger receiver, and for much less money. That's just one name to keep in mind out there of what I was getting out of Tyler Lockett. I love Tyler Lockett, I do, but it just, the numbers didn't add up when it came to age, financials, and it's the right decision. What's your favorite memory of Tyler Lockett? What comes to mind? What is your favorite memory of what he's done over the years? Get in the chat right now and let us know what exactly that is. We haven't got the Super Chat menu yet, and we already have our first Super Chat of the day. Impact Fitness NJ, is that from New Jersey?
Sounds like it.
That guy looks ripped. Welcome to the show, Impact Fitness NJ. I think the Seahawks will have to trade DK. He's the type of person who seems sure about his decisions, and keeping an unhappy player isn't good for the locker room. DK is an emotional guy. We all know this. He wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Yes, he does.
But money talks, and I think there's still a way to solve this situation and potentially bring him back. And we heard Mike Macdonald say all the right things at the NFL Draft Combine, that they want to make him a focal point of this offense, that they are excited about DK Metcalf and like the combination of him and JSN together. So maybe I'm overly optimistic here, Alper, but I think this can be salvaged. Will it be? That remains to be seen, but I think that this can be salvaged with a contract negotiation.
I think it could too. If you pay him, even he might give a little discount. We're going to talk about his contract projection, but I think if they can work this out, he probably doesn't want to leave Seattle. He wants to get paid for his own future.
Yeah, and that's our first shot of the day, courtesy of Impact Fitness. We're going to the Patron Zone, by the way. I'm going straight from the bottle. Every $10 super chat, we're taking shots. Cheers.
Oh, straight from the bottle.
Straight from the bottle. Oh, good Lord. If you would like to send us a super chat and state your grievances or whatever's on your mind and get some screen time, you can do so by sending us a super chat. $ next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute. First-time super chatters, if this is your first time ever super chatting the show, maybe you've never joined us before, you're going to get the Seahawks chant. $5 will do a beer cheers. I know that it's technically not even noon yet on the West Coast. It's almost there. We'll crack open some beer with a $5 super chat, give you a little beer cheers.
We're 1 minute.
$10, we'll take some shots. $20, get bean boozled. $50, we will do a beer bong, and you can get your message and your name and whatever is on your mind on screen with a super chat. If we reach $300 in super chats today, we will do a boot, which is 3 beers in one. We will chug it as fast as possible.
I did one last night on the watch party.
I did one last Monday. I am due. I need to do another boot.
You're due.
But we have to get $300 in super chats. When we drink, we score. We drink and make good moves. We'll have to work on that. The off-season theme. When we drink, we have a great off-season. So if you want us to have a great off-season, if you want to keep DK Metcalf around, let's do some drinking. Let's do our part to send some good vibes to the 12s, John Schneider and company, to have a great offseason. Because right now it is a very interesting start, to say the least. Jeff says both of you should race the boot. Hey, if we reach 500 in super chats today, 500, we can do a boot race. But we got to reach 500 in super chats.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money, but it can be done. I've seen some crazy stuff happen on this show before. So, $ next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and take part in today's show. And we have our mailbag coming up later. That's another way that you can get on the program. You can super chat us to get some screen time, and we'll pay it off. Or you can get in the mailbag using #Seahawks or super chatting for that mailbag segment. There's so many questions, so many comments. We got a large audience here with us today. There's just no way humanly possible for me to see every question and every comment that's in the chat. So the only way that you can guarantee that I see and I'm able to respond and react to your message is by sending a super chat. All right? Super chats are very, very important. They help fund this company, help create jobs. And if you use #Seahawks, we'll try to get it to the mailbag later, but the super chat is the only way we can guarantee that you will get screen time on today's show. I got here's the mailbag call, by the way. #Seahawks or super chat, and we'll take care of you, get you on the mailbag portion of the show. I need you guys to like the video, by the way. I'm at 50 likes right now. There's no reason why we can't get to 100 likes.
Yeah, why can't we get to 100 likes?
When we get to 100 likes, then I will crack open my first can of cold beer. Cold beer. Can of whoop ass, some would say. Can of Miller Lite when we reach 100 likes. So if you love the Seattle Seahawks, if you want to show some appreciation to Tyler Lockett, if you're pissed off at DK right now, honestly, we all should be pissed off. Even if you justify him wanting to be traded, I think it's classless on his part to put in that trade request within 30 minutes of Tyler Lockett announcing he was leaving. At the very least, say what you want. Even if you're a DK defender and you're okay with him being traded and you're okay with the trade request, it was classless. It was an asshole move on the part of DK Metcalf to put in that trade request within 30 minutes of Tyler Lockett, his teammate that's been there the entire time. He's been nothing but good to him. I hated the way DK handled this. Just no respect. He could have done this yesterday. He could have waited even till later in the afternoon or tomorrow. The timing of it, I have a major problem with. That was such disrespectful, Alper.
I agree 100%. Like, was it even 30 minutes? It might have been like 20. You don't let the Seahawks fans kind of reminisce about Tyler Lockett, everything that he's done. I mean, 10 seasons.
You have made this a horrible day.
You made it about yourself.
Yes. Couldn't give Tyler Lockett his moment. Asshole, 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 asshole. Yeah. F you, DK. 78 likes right now.
Got 300 people in the chat.
300 people. I need 100 likes.
Come on.
I need 100 likes, and then I could crack open a can of Miller, and we can get this show started. We got 21 likes away from reaching that mark, but I need your help. 21. Now we're 20 away. Dennis says, I agree with you, but that's DK for you.
Yeah.
Josh agrees.
Yeah.
Let's see. Michael says, yeah, that's true. Like, come on, bruh. Bruh. Come on, DK. Let's see. Awesome O says, I don't blame DK one bit. If you want to be mad at anyone, be mad at the Seahawks for releasing Tyler and backing mediocre Geno. Okay.
All right.
If that's the hill you want to die on, that's weird. All right, here we go. 100 likes. Everybody raise your glass.
I don't got one, but I'll raise it.
DK, you asshole. Cheers to Tyler Lockett, not to DK. There we go. Let's catch up on Super Chats, and then we'll begin our first segment.
There we go.
Of our live show here today. And I do need to I'll get a subread in, and then we'll spam S as well after we get to through the Super Chats. 300 people watching. Are you all subscribed, by the way? You need to subscribe to Seahawks Today. We're going to be all over this stuff over the coming weeks of what's ahead with free agency, this DK trade. I need to make sure you're subscribed. We got 300 people watching. I need every single one of you to subscribe. When the Seahawks make a roster move, if they trade DK, whatever it may be, they sign somebody, we're going to be all over it. And we got a crazy week ahead here on Seahawks Today. We're going to be live next week. I just got the schedule today, folks. We're going to be live for free agency on Monday, on Tuesday, and Wednesday. 3 straight live shows next week for NFL free agency. Woo! If I got to be here, then you got to be here. So make this appointment viewing to be here with us next week for NFL free agency. Subscribe now. If you're subscribed, type me in the chat. We'll show you some love. Let us know if you're subscribed, and we would appreciate it. Dan the Man Miller with a $20.16 super chat. That's a first.
Interesting. Well, a
super chat agami, I guess you could call that. That's going to be a Bean Boozled. He says, is there a scenario where we re-sign Tyler to keep him in Seattle? The 16 is for Tyler Lockett. I would say no, Alper, because I think that they tried. They negotiated with him. Josh is subscribed, by the way. So is Shady. And who else? Big Boy Gaming is subscribed. Much appreciated. They tried. I think that they wanted to work out a deal of sorts, but ultimately they couldn't come to terms, and he's gone. So I think that bridge has collapsed, and Tyler Lockett is not coming back. I think that he is going to go to another team, Alper, that will pay him more money. There are teams that need receiver help. There are contending teams out there that I think will pay Tyler Lockett more money than what Seattle will be willing to pay. I think he's played his last game here.
And that's why you cut him. If they were going to figure out a way to keep him, they'd probably ask Tyler, here's what we're going to offer you. You can take it and stay here, or we'll release you and you can go see whatever you want, your value, and go sign with another team. And that's what they did. So I think Tyler Lockett's played his last game in Seattle.
Dan, I owe you a bean. Let's get beaned.
I see some questions here in the chat. If you have a question for our mailbag, put #Seahawks. You can spell it anyway, uppercase, lowercase, or if you like to capitalize the S, just you got to put #Seahawks to get a part of the mailbag. If you super chat, you're automatically in the mailbag, but if you're in the chat, #Seahawks.
Okay. So here's the bean, Dan. It is either barf or peach. What do we think? Is it going to be barf or peach? One bite, everyone knows the rules. Let's find out together.
Oh, Lord. What is it?
Oh, that's a spicy barf.
Oh,
God. Oh, God. Oh, I'm on fire. Help me, Tom Cruise. Help me, Oprah. Help me, Jewish God. Oh, that burns. Oh, I blame DK.
It's all DK's fault.
It's DK's fault. I'm hurting. Oh, let's try some beer.
That'll do it.
That might be a bad idea, but oh God. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for the super chat. JSN season says, what would trading DK realistically get us? Receivers get traded for Hoopla. I don't see us getting less than a late second for him or a fourth plus some change. We'll talk about this more, I think, in the segment that we'll do here in a moment. I think best case scenario, receiver market has gone down because they're so expensive when it comes to what you can get in return. I think you're hoping for a second and a fifth, realistically. And personally, I'd rather keep the money to pay. I'd rather keep DK and pay him rather than just getting the second and the fifth. I've said this before. I'll say it again, Alfred. The time to trade DK was 2 years ago when you could have gotten a first-round pick. Can't get that first-round pick anymore. I'd rather just pay DK and keep him around, personally.
I agree. I mean, you had 2 years ago. He was a 1,000-yard receiver. Now, what is his trade value?
Yeah.
I don't truly know his trade value.
Dan, I'm still killing on that bean, by the way. My mouth's still on fire.
Could you get a third rounder? Second rounder?
I think second and fifth is probably your best case. JSN season, cheers to you. Shady Productions writes in, DK Metcalf has been cancerous in the locker room. Uh-oh, lost my screen. Can't see.
What? There. Whoop. Something's happening. We're still live.
Still live.
We're good.
There we go. Now we're back.
There we go.
Now
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. We're still here. Cancerous in the locker room. I blame DK. It's DK's fault for that. We need a draft O-line and wide receiver. What position now do you want to put the most focus on the rest of the offseason if DK is traded? Still the offensive guard spot for me. Still the offensive guard spot that needs to be addressed. Both left guard and right guard need to be taken care of. Receivers are easy to replace. That's the one silver lining. Let's say that DK and Tyler Lockett have each played their last down. Well, whether it's the draft or free agency or trades, wide receivers these days, Alper, grow on trees.
Yes, you can find one anywhere. There's a lot of good wide receivers in the draft this year, too.
I owe you a shot for that, Shady. I'll say this. I'm from Oklahoma, and there's an area of Oklahoma called Lawton, and it's known as the Shady 580. And so to the Shady 580, cheers.
Oh, I can't believe you're going straight from the bottle.
Oh, God. All right. High Flying Beast writes in. DK Metcalf also costed us so much yardage last season because of his attitude. I hate to see him leave, but a trade is good. Depends on what the trade is. Remember, we were on top of this before anyone else is. This is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today. I got 400 people in the building. All you need to subscribe. We were talking about the DK trade stuff before anyone else was. Remember when Jay Glazer told us at the Super Bowl, pick up the phone, see what people are saying. If somebody's willing to offer you a first, that's a game changer. That's a game changer all of a sudden. But I don't think that offer's coming. But you never know. You never know potentially. Another shot. Oh. DK, you're making me drink, man. Cheers. Oh, God. All right. Oh. With the spicy jelly bean after. Goodness. Ron Hector with a $2 super chat. How long to make the decision on DK? Draft wide receiver in the first. I think your timetable is the sooner the better. Hard deadline is before the draft if you're going to trade him. Because you would like to get capital to replace him or be able to use that immediately for this upcoming draft. I think that's your timeline here is just over a month at this point.
Yeah, you have a month. What do we have, 7 weeks till the draft?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's your timeline. Raw Hector, thank you. Bennett with a $5 super chat. Cheers. DK, Dennis Rodman Jr. Metcalf. Just get it over with and get a good deal for him. Bye. I'll say this. DK, yeah, he's got a bad attitude. he gets called for more personal foul penalties than anybody in the National Football League. But there's still more good than bad when it comes to DK Metcalf. And that's why I want to keep him around. And I would think as he gets older, he gets more mature. I told Colin this a few weeks ago, Alper. If you bring him back, you are only going to bring him back for this next contract. It would be his last.
Yes.
So can I deal with DK for 3 or 4 more years? I can. I'd rather do that than settle for a 2nd and 5th round pick, but I understand the frustration. Bennett, cheers to you. Thomas with a $10 super chat. It's been a pretty riveting day for the 12s. Yeah, you're telling me. Moved to Washington in 2019 thanks to the Navy. Beat Army. I could have gone anywhere, but the opportunity to beat the 12 is going to be passed up. Go Hawks. Go Hawks indeed.
Go Hawks.
Spam Go Hawks. Spam Go Hawks. Thomas, I love the stash. That's a grade A stash.
That's a great stash. I love the stash.
I love the stash, Thomas. Glad you're a 12. Moving here in 2019. That's a real one right there. That's another shot to you. Thomas, thanks for the super chat. Cheers. Oh, God. We're putting these down like Donkey Kong today. And then we got a big one, our biggest super chat of the day so far. We got a $50 super chat from Pablo Domingo. Bang! Pablo. Spam Pablo. Make it rain in here. That's a bear bong. Let's go, Pablo. I see you. There's the money. There it is. That's a bear bong. Everybody spam Pablo. Spam Pablo in the chat. Woo! Making it rain. Making it rain like Johnny Manziel in Vegas. Making it rain. Oh, man.
Shout out to Pablo.
Oh, Pablo writing in, and I'll do the beer ball in a second. Seattle Seahawks will miss Tyler Lockett. Seattle Seahawks offseason is crazy and wild. What's wrong with DK Metcalf? Well, yes, we will miss Tyler Lockett. All the good today is for Tyler Lockett. We have nothing but respect for my president, Tyler Lockett. So I will do this beer bong in honor of Pablo and Tyler Lockett, not DK. It is FDK today. FDK. Spam FDK in the chat. Pablo, it is a crazy offseason, a crazy day. This is one of the craziest days I can remember in quite some time. But hey,
yes.
You know what?
You were live right now on
We're enjoying ourselves. We're enjoying ourselves here. Pablo, cheers to you. Go Seahawks. Cheers to Tyler Lockett as well. We wish nothing but the best to Tyler Lockett. FDK, get the FDKs in the chat. Cheers. Woo! Thank you, Pablo, for that. That puts us at $122. We got to get to $300 to do a boot today. We are making significant progress, but we got a ways to go if we want to do a boot here on today's show. So if you guys would like to make a boot happen, $sign next to the chat box, and we will do so. Up next, let's go ahead and get to our news and rumors. Let's break down everything going on with DK and also Tyler Lockett. We'll go over the full details. We got a mailbag that we'll be getting to later on. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. And then we will get to our final segment, which will be DK Metcalf trade destinations. Somebody said, why are we saying FDK? Because he requested a trade. And even if you are okay with him requesting a trade, it was an asshole move on his part to do it on Tyler Lockett Day. To do it within 30 minutes of Tyler Lockett announcing he was leaving Seattle. Classless move. Asshole move from DK Metcalf. FDK. Asshole. Yes, that is why we're saying FDK today. That is why. So to give context there. All right, now, Let's get going. Let's get to our news and rumors. Let's have everybody spam S real quick, and then we'll get to our news and rumors with everything you need to know on these moves and of what's going on with DK and Tyler Lockett, as well as everything else here on this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. If you're ready, if you want a shout-out from Alper, we got 300 people in the building.
Spam S!
I know there could be more out there. Spam S. Let's find out who's going to be the early favorite to be the MVP of today's show. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Seahawks fan, I see ya. Seahawks fan, Swervo, Josh Woodard, Mad Wolf, Tiny Nuts, Mad Wolf, Josh Woodard, Garrett's Greats, Seahawks fan, Swervo, Holden Stevens, Jersey Picker, Arsenal Apex, Givey Lowell. Keep them coming, keep them coming.
Keep
Nate,
going.
I see you. Dan Miller, Thomas Gilliam.
Dan the man. 30
D1.
seconds gone by. Keep going.
D1, keep it coming. Chris Lyons. Oh, now it's getting tough for me. Preston Lee, Arsenal Apex, Gibby Lou, Trout, Alex, Manny, Lucas, Nate,
10 seconds.
Preston Lee, Chris Lyons, Boog, Dune, Alex, Hawks Prods.
Nice. Who do we see the most of?
Probably Seahawks fan and Josh Woodard.
Okay.
And Arsenal Apex.
Very good. Very good, everybody. All right. Let's get to the news of the day. Talk DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. What's going on with both of them. Then we'll get to Q&A rumors mailbag. And then we'll talk DK Metcalf trade destinations. All that and more. Our live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today as we get to the latest on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Special edition here on this Wednesday. Glad to have you here. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel for the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else. You're going to want to be locked in because we're going to cover every angle of what's going on with DK here over the next couple of weeks, however long it takes before he gets traded or a contract extension is reached, one of the two. We'll have you covered here on Seahawks Today. Let's go ahead and get started. This live edition of Seahawks Today begins right now. What a day, folks. We got a lot to talk about here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, as DK Metcalf has requested a trade. We will tell you what in the hell is going on with DK Metcalf in just a few moments. Also, Tyler Lockett announced his departure as he has been released. We will take a moment to honor Tyler Lockett and explain why he is not returning to Seattle in just a bit. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. What a crazy day, my friends. And this is only the beginning of this offseason, folks. When the Seahawks make moves, whether it's a trade, free agent signing, whatever it may be, we're going to cover it here on Seahawks Today. You got to be subscribed to the channel. And we're bringing you live shows for free agency Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. We're going to be live here on the channel, in addition to all of our breaking news coverage, our Q&A mailbags. It is a hell of a time here on Seahawks Today. If you're a diehard Seahawks fan, you got to lock us in, because I, as your capable host, will not let you down. We will stay up to date with everything you need to know. Subscribe now for free. This is why you subscribe, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. DK Metcalf requested a trade today from the Seattle Seahawks, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. And this comes on the heels of the ongoing contract negotiations, as the Seahawks have been working to try to get an extension done with DK, but things have not gotten done at this point in time, and ultimately DK puts in his trade request. Adam Schefter said the following: Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf has requested a trade per source. The request came today after a series of conversations over the past 2 weeks. Metcalf prefers a contender. Wow. I am just baffled. I am shocked that we reached this point. And honestly, I'm disappointed that it came down to this, that DK put in this trade request, because for a couple reasons. I thought that they would get a deal done to keep DK around, and Seattle has made it very known that they believe in DK. They want to make him a focal point of this offense. They want him around long term. Mike Macdonald, John Schneider, they've said all of the right things. And I'm also disappointed in the way that DK handled this. Put in the request today, and it gets announced not even 30 minutes after Tyler Lockett announced his departure from Seattle. He could not even give his longtime teammate Tyler Lockett the time of day to shine in the sun and for 12s to pay their respects. He had to be the asshole to take the attention away from Tyler Lockett. As if this day wasn't bad enough for 12s to say goodbye to Tyler Lockett. Then DK pulls off a dick move like this. This trade request could have come in yesterday, could have been tomorrow, but then the timing to do it within 30 minutes of Tyler Lockett's news, that wasn't cool at all. I'm not giving up on DK returning to Seattle, though. What we've seen as of late in recent years is that trade requests have become a negotiating tactic. And this is a negotiation here. DK could have reached a breaking point where he said, look, this is the last option I have to get the money I want, is to put in a trade demand out there. He very well could return to Seattle on a brand new contract, and we forget all of this happened. That's certainly possible here. But with that said, there's plenty of work to be done. What could a potential trade look like? We'll go over that in just a bit. But first, what is your one-word reaction to the DK Metcalf trade request? Give me your one word. My one word, I'm disappointed. Disappointed is the word I'm using. It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what that one word is. DK Metcalf, a former second-round pick out of Ole Miss. He's had a very good tenure in Seattle. A two-time Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro. He set the franchise record for most receiving yards in a single season back in 2020 with over 1,300. He also has the record for most 50-plus yard receiving touchdowns. He also has the record for most consecutive 100-yard receiving games in franchise history. DK's been great. And this year, he got off to a rocking start to the year, had the injury, came back, didn't quite look 100%, but he still nearly had 1,000 yards receiving, and he's been steady Eddie for the Seattle Seahawks. He hasn't been necessarily a superstar, but he's never been bad. He has been reliable. He has been one of the cornerstones of this Seahawks offense for quite some time. Now, here's one of the biggest reasons why I would not want to trade DK Metcalf and why I would look to extend him and still try to keep him around. The trade compensation that you would get for DK Metcalf is not that great, in all honesty. The way receivers are getting paid left and right, that has hurt their trade value. And if you would have traded DK 2 years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick for him. If you wanted to move on from DK, it was back then. It isn't now. Best case scenario, you're looking at maybe, and that's a big maybe, a second and a fifth-round pick for DK Metcalf at this point in time. I'd rather just pay him the money to keep him around rather than just settling for a second and fifth-round pick. His contract projection, looking at a 4-year, $110 million deal to keep DK Metcalf around. It won't be cheap, but I would rather do that than settle for not much in a trade at this point in time. So let's ask you, should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? What do you guys think? Type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Chime in the comments section and let us know if they should trade DK Metcalf or not. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in basketball, whether it's rebounds, maybe it's goals in hockey. Me and Alper, we are big on the motorsports side of things. In NASCAR, playing the fantasy points, there's all sorts of different categories to choose from. Go to prizepicks.com/SailItS, promo code SailItS, and when you play $5, you will get $50 to play for free. You don't even have to win to get the money. Just go to prizepicks.com/SailItS, promo code SailItS to play along with us today. And on Prize Picks, I'm already kind of looking ahead to the start of the football season. I got DK to have more than 999.5 passing yards. I got Patrick Mahomes as well to have more than 27.5 passing touchdowns. If I put $20 down and both those hit, that turns into $60 on Prize Picks. Play along with me, prizepicks.com/SailItS, promo code SailItS. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, proud partner of Seattle Seahawks Today. That wasn't the only big news for the Seattle Seahawks today, as Tyler Lockett said goodbye to the 12s, announcing that he will not be returning to the team as he was officially released. And the Hawks, they changed their avatar on X to his jersey. They also put this photo out there as well, honoring Tyler Lockett. And Tyler Lockett delivered an official statement on X saying the following: I really enjoyed being in Seattle. I met so many great people and captured so many great memories. The 12s really made this place meaningful. Although my time on the Seahawks may have run its course, I'm thankful for everything. God gets all the glory forever. What a run for Tyler Lockett. One of the most underrated receivers in the entire National Football League. And one day he's going to have his name in the Ring of Honor. He'll be raising that 12th man flag. A career that included a Pro Bowl appearance, first-team All-Pro selection, a dynamic, not just receiver, but also a kickoff return specialist as well. But when it comes down to it, folks, there's two reasons why Tyler Lockett is not returning to Seattle. And one of those is the production. His numbers have dropped off significantly over the last couple of seasons, especially with the emergence of Jackson Smith-Njigba. He is older. He is in his 30s at this point. And then the financial terms. Seattle could not simply afford to take on a $30 million cap hit that Tyler Lockett was going to require this season. Now they save about $17 million. Believe me, this sucks, okay? I love Tyler Lockett. I wish that he would be able to retire as a Seahawk, but that just wasn't realistic. This was the right decision for a guy that wants to continue playing, and he can go somewhere else where he can make more money and still make an impact compared to the situation he was in Seattle. And there's been a decline in play, and he's getting older now. It sucks, but this was the right decision. Let's show some love to Tyler Lockett. He's handled this with grace, unlike that asshole DK Metcalf. Show some love to Tyler Lockett. I want you to spam 12 in the comments section. We want all the 12s to show some love to Tyler Lockett. Let him know that the 12s can hear him loud and clear, that we love him. We wish him nothing but the best, and I'll be rooting on him wherever he goes. I can't say the same about DK Metcalf, but I can say that about Tyler Lockett. Now, as we're wrapping up here, this is a hard day. This is the hardest day for Seattle Seahawks fans since Russell Wilson was traded. All right, this is one we're going to remember for a long time. We're all going to recall where we were at on that day that Tyler Lockett announced he was leaving and that DK Metcalf put in that trade request. But with $45 million in cap space, and then either one or two things happens with DK Metcalf. Either you sign him and extend him and you keep him around, or you trade him and you get more cap space and some draft capital. At the end of the day, this too shall pass. Things will be okay. There is a light at the end of the tunnel regarding this situation of everything that's unfolded today. And you think about the moves that Seattle has made over the last few days. Tyler Lockett's gone, but I think he can be replaced. Jarran Jones, He's gone. You didn't get much from him anyway. He can be replaced. Rayshawn Jenkins, you've already replaced him with Kobe Bryant. George Fant didn't really do much for you. Roy Robertson Harris, you traded for him midseason last year, but he didn't do much either. You are not a whole lot worse off today than you were a couple days ago. And I think that's where Seahawk fans can sit here and say that, hey, everything's going to be fine because you're opening yourselves up with more money, a chance to get younger, and build upon from here. What's your favorite memory of Tyler Lockett? What comes to mind? So many to choose from over the years. We love and appreciate and respect Tyler Lockett. Wish him nothing but the best down the road. What comes to mind? Weigh in and let us know. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. We're going to be all over everything that's going on with DK and this entire situation. We'll have you covered right here on the channel. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. You tell Colin we got that? Cool. That is one segment down. Two more to go. We're going to get to our Q&A mailbag coming up next. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Should the Hawks trade DK Metcalf? HY for hell yes. HN for hell no. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Should the Seahawks trade DK? Alper, if it's your choice between keeping DK and getting a new deal done or moving on from him, what is GM Brett Alper doing in this circumstance?
GM Brett Alper is seeing what his value is. If you can get a second-round pick, you do it. If you can get a second-round pick, you do it. And they'll probably throw in a late-round pick. And if he doesn't take a pay cut, because do I really want to pay DK Metcalf $100+ million when JSN had his breakout season this past year? I would trade DK Metcalf.
Ooh. So Alper's team trade. I'm team keep. I want to keep DK. Where are you guys at on this? The majority of the chat's still saying hell no, that they want him back. I will say, if this is it for DK, what a disgusting act. What an awful ending to demand a trade and to do it on Tyler Lockett Day. I just find totally classless and so disrespectful from DK Metcalf. If this is how it ends, if this is the ending, Alper,
yes,
then I think that's going to leave a sour taste in the mouth of 12's fans.
It's going to leave a very sour taste. And if whoever he goes to, whenever he comes back to Seattle, he's not going to get a warm welcome. He's not going to get a warm welcome.
Yeah. Dan says I'm hell yes and hell no, so he can't decide. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. The Seahawks haven't decided yet either, apparently. Let's get to the Super Chat menu. We got 300 people watching. We are at $122 in Super Chats right now. I would love to do a beer boot today, but we have plenty of work to do to get there first, folks.
You already did the beer bong.
I did a beer bong, but I need to drown my sorrows away. I am having a very bad day. All right? I need to get to drinking. Help me out. Let me drink a bit and drown my sorrows away. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5, we'll do a beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get bean boozled. $50, we'll do a beer bong. We are doing a mailbag in a moment. If you guys Super Chat us, you will get priority for the mailbag segment. We'll be bringing you coming up momentarily. But we need to hear from you guys, whether it's hashtag Seahawks or Super Chatting, to get on the mailbag portion of the show. So who is going to step right up? Who is going to step up to the plate and get this party going? I want to hear directly from you. This is your chance to let your voice be heard and send us a Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box. I know we got some new people in here. I know we got some people that have never watched this show before, that have never Super Chatted this show before. This is your chance to sound off. And look, The chat is bumping right now. There's a lot of people in there.
And we got a lot of questions. I'm looking right here. And if you just forget about the super chats, which we have a ton, so they get priority first. I'm already counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hashtag Seahawks questions, but we're not going to get to all of them because we have a ton of super chats.
So the only way you can guarantee that you're getting on the mailbag is by using the super chat function. Those are good priority. But I'll say this. I want to get turned. I want to have a good time today because I am having a bad day. DK Metcalf ruined my day today. Steve is new here. Steve, welcome. There's so many comments. I can't see everybody's. I cannot see everybody's comment. And so the only way that you can guarantee that I see your comment and that I can react to it is by sending a super chat. So who wants to get this party started? Who wants to help us get to a beer boot today? $300 is the number. We're at 122 right now, and we have 2 segments to go. So we're still going to be around a while. We got plenty of Seahawks football to talk about here as we'll do this mailbag, and then we'll talk DK trade destinations. But we need you guys' help to make this worth our while. We did you guys a favor. We rushed as quickly as possible to get this show going. We're on 2 hours early today because of this breaking news. So the least you could do is show us some love and send us a super chat and party with us and have a good time today. Drown your sorrows away with us here on Seahawks Today. Let's go ahead and get to that mailbag.
All righty.
And then we'll talk DK trade destinations after that as we continue here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Glad to have you guys here. Jonesy, Alper in the house here. Let's continue. And when I get done with this segment, I better see some super chats in here. I want to have a good time today. We need to turn these frowns upside down. And we can do so. We can have a better day if we get some super chats and get to party around here a bit. So let's see what you guys can come up with. Let's get to this mailbag, and then we'll go from here. So, yes, Alper. Yes. Quad Father, you sound like you'd be fun at parties with that message. Loser. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Mailbag time. Hashtag Seahawks, super chat if you want to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Let's go ahead and do the mailbag, and then we'll talk DK trade destinations to follow after that. Jonesy and Alper here with you. Happy to have you with us. Arsenal Apex has got a super chat. We'll include that in the mailbag. Thank you. And we will continue here on this live edition of Seahawks Today, starting right now. It is mailbag time here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are taping this on Wednesday during our live show where we just got the news that DK Metcalf put in a trade request. We also got the news that Tyler Lockett was released, announcing his departure from Seattle. So you're kind of seeing the grief on our faces as we react to this in real time. And we got a lot of grief from the 12s as well, as it's a time of mourning right now in the Emerald City. And so without further ado, we're going to answer your questions. Got plenty of questions to discuss, from everything from Brandon Ayuk to Mark Andrews, among others here. Let's get started with the super chat from Dan, who writes in with a $20.16 super chat. Salute to you, Dan. Is there a scenario where we re-sign Tyler Lockett to keep him in Seattle? The 16 is for Tyler Lockett. I think that time's come and gone. I think that the Hawks would have liked to keep Tyler Lockett, and there was plenty of discussions going on between management and Tyler Lockett and his representation, and they could not find a way to get a deal done. And I think that had he been willing to take a pay cut or something, we would have already found out about that, and that would have been taken care of. I'd be very surprised if things turn around where Tyler Lockett ends up back in Seattle. I hate to see him go, but it's a business, and you couldn't take on a $30 million cap hit. Tyler Lockett wanted that money, and it was just a bridge too far. So, no, I don't think Tyler Lockett's coming back. JSN season writes in, what would trading DK realistically get us? Receivers get traded for hoopla. I don't see us getting less than a second for him or a fourth plus some change. I think what you're hoping for is a second and a fifth. If you would have traded him about 2 years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick. But you did not. You decided to keep him. And I think that's your best guess because the receiver market has dwindled of what guys are valued when it comes to trade assets because they cost so much financially speaking that teams aren't willing to give up as much. And I think that's what you're looking at right now. Shady Productions writes in, DK Metcalf has been cancerous in the locker room. We need to draft O-line and receiver. What position now do you want the most focus on for the rest of the offseason if DK is traded? It's still the guard spot for me. Even if DK's gone, you still need to get protection for Geno Smith on the offensive line, and you still need to be able to run the football. And you do not have those guards right now. I think it's finding the guard help. And maybe there's a situation where we see Abraham Lucas move to the guard spot, and you draft a tackle, or you draft a tackle that plays guard, whatever it may be. But I think it's solving the guard crisis on the Seahawks border that needs to be figured out first. Raw Hector with a $2 super chat writes in, how long till we make a decision on DK? Draft a wide receiver in the first? I think it's possible to draft a receiver in the first, but it depends on what you do with the offensive line situation here in free agency beginning in the next couple of days as far as that goes. But I think that your timeline, you want to have this figured out before the draft. I think that's what you're looking at with DK, whether it's a trade or an extension. You want to have this figured out. That way you can get the assets and capitalize on it right away in this upcoming draft, and you're not having to wait for it till next year. Arsenal Apex with a $2 super chat. We will finally re-sign Ernest Jones. I think he means re-sign, not resign. Yes, I hope. I'm very optimistic. And money's no longer an excuse. With releasing Tyler Lockett at the time of this recording, that's 45 million Benjamins in cap space. And you may be watching this, and they may have made even more roster cuts at this point in time. So the money's there. It's not an issue. It's up to John Schneider to close the deal and get the job done. I think Ernest Jones is coming back, and he should come back. Folks, we do these mailbags on our Wednesday live shows, and you may be wondering, how can I be a part of your next mailbag segment? Well, if you subscribe and turn on notifications, then you'll be the first to know when we go live, when we have new content here on the channel. And you definitely want to have your notifications turned on for what's ahead over the coming weeks, as we're going to be live for free agency on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. In addition to bringing you our daily news and rumors, anytime there's breaking news. Hell, if news breaks at midnight and I'm laying in bed, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go put a shirt on, and I'm going to go record a video. So if you want me to get out of bed and put a shirt on and bring you breaking news at midnight, you need to subscribe to the channel and lock us in. Turn on notifications and join the Nota Gang. They're the first to know when we have new content. If you're part of the Nota Gang, spam Nota Gang in the comment section. You'd be glad you did. Man of the 12s writes in, could the Seahawks bring in Brandon Ayuk to replace DK and Tyler? Ayuk had a bit of a down year. I know the Niners are shopping him. You look at his statistics. He was banged up a bit, had less than 400 yards receiving this year, coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns, and he was really good before that. But I'm concerned that he has lost a step of sorts, that Brandon Ayuk might be cooked. And I'm very nervous about the idea of making a deal with the 49ers, of what that could potentially look like and helping out the Niners in that case. So I would lean towards no, but I wouldn't rule it out until Seattle has a solution, because you sure as hell cannot ride with Jake Bobo as your number 2 receiver. That ain't going to work. You're going to have to go get some receiver help, whether it be free agency, trade, draft, whatever it may be. That ain't going to fly. Should the Seahawks bring in Brandon Ayuk? If you're saying let's go Brandon, then type Y for yes. If you are not saying that, then type in for no. Get in the comment section. Let me know which way you feel, if they should bring in Ayuk or not. Your fearless leader. That is I, yours truly here. The somewhat capable host, writing in. Would trading for Mark Andrews make sense for the Seahawks? I've seen a lot of people mention Mandrews as a possibility. The last time we saw Mark Andrews on the football field, it was in the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills, and he had a costly fumble and a drop pass that cost the Ravens a spot in the AFC Championship game. It was not a great moment for Mark Andrews, but that doesn't take away from what Mark Andrews has done in his career. He has been one of the best tight ends in the league, top 5 tight end for most of his career. 1,300 yards in 2021, but the numbers have slightly gone down year by year. 847 yards 2022, 544 in 2023, 673 last year. Here's why I say no on Mandrews, all right? It's giving me vibes of when Seattle brought in Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was one of the better tight ends in football. Granted, I think the system, which was so lethargic and such a joke of what Pete Carroll ran for an offense of just ignoring the tight end position, was part of the problem. But that's kind of what I fear. I get some vibes there where you're not going to get what you're paying for. And part of Mark Andrews' success, I think, has to do with playing with Isaiah Likely as well. And you don't have another Isaiah Likely there. I'm kind of out on the idea of Andrews. Should the Seahawks bring in Mark Andrews? Type T for trade. Type P for pass. What do you guys think of the idea of Mark Andrews? Chime in that comment section. Let us know how you feel. Seahawks hats are on sale now for up to 50% off while supplies last. We have the flat bill version. We got the baseball cap style. All sorts of different hats to choose from for your liking. And we have plenty more to choose from on our website, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Go see for yourself, as well as the rest of our Seahawks merchandise, chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Main Street Paul writes in, #Seahawks, if you lose your wide receiver room, you still extend Geno. Well, still got JSN. And I think you're still going to get other guys. If DK's gone, if Lockett's gone, the silver lining here is it's the easiest position to replace. Wide receivers grow on trees. I mean, you can go get a guy like Tutu Atwell, for example, real cheap. There's plenty of receivers in this draft as well. You can get through this. You can get through this circumstance. I think Geno's getting extended. By the time you're watching this, he may have already been extended by now. But, yes, I do think Geno is still coming back. And, honestly, I think Seattle's kind of made a choice, Geno over DK. You'd like to keep both, but I think they're prioritizing Geno right now. Swerve. Bend that corner. Whoa. Writes in. Could you see DK joining Carroll with the Raiders? That is. Yeah, I could see him or Lockett, either one, going to Las Vegas. They liked Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll liked both of them. I could very well see that being the case, where DK ends up there, and the Raiders have plenty of money and plenty of assets. That is a team to watch if he ultimately does get traded and they bend that corner. Whoa. Yes, that's something to keep in mind there. Watch out for the Raiders as a possibility. Ken writes in, where's Barbie? Why did we cut him and not get something for him in regards to Tyler Lockett? Well, it's a very simple answer, Ken. Because nobody was going to trade for Tyler Lockett. Nobody was going to take on a $30 million cap hit. Now, I'm not scolding you, Ken. All right? Let's just be real here. I'm just being honest. I'm sure they looked into it. The phone wasn't ringing. Nobody was picking up. All right? Nobody wanted to pay him that money. Seattle didn't. No one else, for that matter. Someone else is going to sign him for much cheaper and not have to give up anything. Not to mention, on top of that, nobody wanted to pay him that money, but everybody and their mother knew that he was going to get released. So why would the Hawks be able to trade him if every team in the league knew that they could sign him for nothing without giving up anything if they just waited on him to be released? That's thinking with your noggin right there. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Going to be a fascinating next few days ahead. If you're not subscribed, I don't know what the hell you're doing. You got to be subscribed to Seahawks Today. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. Got another segment to get to in just a moment. Brandon Ayuk. What do you think, folks? Should the Hawks bring in Brandon Ayuk? Alper Reed joins me now. What do you think about Brandon Ayuk in Seattle?
I agree with you. I think he's kind of cooked. You hold out. You try to convince people to pay me, and then you go back to the Niners after no one pays you for the same amount of money they offered you. And then you had pretty much a terrible year. You weren't productive in the slightest. Now, I don't really believe in Brock Purdy, but good wide receivers make quarterbacks good, and he did not have the most productive year. So I'm not bringing him in.
So Alper says no on Ayuk. I say no on Ayuk. What's the chat saying? Why for yes, in for no? I see Spoon saying yes. Andrew saying no. Rod Hector saying no. Avaro saying no. Matthew saying no. Avaro says F no. Andrew says you can get cheaper in the draft. Seahawk fan says maybe. What do you guys think? Why for yes, in for no? Chime in of what you think. We did have a super chat before that mailbag. I didn't pay it off yet. Arsenal Apex and then Lockett fan with some super chats. Here's the super chat menu. We're at $129 right now. We have one more segment to go. Can we get to $300?
Get to $300.
We're just over halfway there. If we get to $300, we're doing a boot. I got 275 of you watching right now. All right? If we all contribute $1, then we can get to a boot. You know, it would be hilarious, actually, if I saw a run on just dollar super chats. I've never seen that before. It'd be like counting pennies, you know, like paying with change. I would love to do a boot, but we have to get to $300. We're at $229 right now. $sign next to the chat box, and we'll make it happen. Lockett fan says, raise a glass to Tyler. Everybody raise your glass to Tyler Lockett. Gone but not forgotten.
I do have a glass.
This feels like a family member dying. He's not dead.
He's not dead.
But it feels like he's dead.
He's going away.
He's going away.
Going away.
Tyler Lockett, cheers to you, brother.
From one Tyler to another.
We had so much in common. I mean, same hometown, same name. I felt so attached to Tyler Lockett. Am I surprised? No. But I'm sad. And I think we all feel that way. Everybody raise your glass to Tyler Lockett. Much appreciated. Thank you, Lockett fan, for that. Arsenal Apex.
He got him in the mailbag. We got him in the mailbag.
We did get that in the mailbag. Let's get your take, though. Ernest Jones, nice breakout season. Should cost about $13 million a year. You think Seattle finds a way to bring him back?
I think you can find a way to bring him back. $13 million is not a lot, but what is Seattle's cap situation?
Well, now they got $45 million.
Yeah. I'm definitely finding a way to re-signing Ernest Jones.
Yeah. Some people are saying I'm disrespecting DK. No, DK disrespected us. He disrespected Tyler Lockett, putting in this trade request literally 30 minutes after the Tyler Lockett news. We are not disrespecting DK. We were disrespected. I am offended on behalf of the 12s. As the voice of the 12s, I speak for all of you. as your fearless leader. I got to say that I am hurt. I'm hurt by DK today. And so, no, we are not disrespecting DK. We have been disrespected today. Let's go back to the Super Chat menu. Appreciate those Super Chats rolling in. We're at 129 right now. 300 is the magic number. First time Super Chatters get the chant. $5, beer cheers. $10, take some shots. $20, get being boosted. $50, do a beer bong. You know, I'll make a deal.
Oh, a deal.
I am a man of deals. We do have, they might be a couple months old by now. We have some Jell-O shots still in the building. The next $20 Super Chat, if it comes in the next 5 minutes, if we get a $20 Super Chat in the next 5 minutes, I will do a Jell-O shot and a Bean Boozled.
Oh, double.
Two
birds, one stone.
If we get a $20 Super Chat in the next 5 minutes. Clock is on right now. We'll see if that comes in, if you guys can make that happen. $20 Super Chat in the next 5 minutes. We'll get Bean Boozled, and we'll do a Jell-O shot. James May with a $10 Super Chat. That's a shot. Says, gonna miss. Rocket, pocket, Lockett. I'm gonna miss him too. Alpert, you know, I know you're not a Seahawks fan, but I think Tyler Lockett was a guy that everybody liked and respected just across the league. Like, there's hard to find anything not to like about the guy.
I couldn't tell you one thing bad about Tyler Lockett.
Cheers to James.
He was on my fantasy team for a couple years.
Did you win?
One of those years.
One of those years. Was Tyler Lockett an impact player for that team?
I think it was 2019.
He had over 1,000 yards that year.
There you go.
So Tyler Lockett helped Alper win a fantasy championship. Cheers to Tyler Lockett in that fantasy championship. What was your fantasy team name?
I don't remember what it was 5 years ago. Usually I kind of pick something to make fun of my friends.
Okay.
But what was mine? Usually kind of get inappropriate names.
Oh, even better. Even better. Chat, what are some of your fantasy team names you've come up with, Chat?
Yeah, I'm not going to say my team names.
You're not going to say, okay. Can you give us a hint of sorts? Can we kind of connect the dots?
This past year, it was about the safety on the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, that guy. Okay. I got an idea what it is. I get the idea there. Yeah. King says he went with the Mean Machines.
And I also had one because Malik Neighbors was my wide receiver. I'll say it was related to what Reese Davis said on game day.
Oh,
if you remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Naysayers.
Yes.
All right, Lockett fan making it happen. He said, scrape the mold off the Jell-O shot and drink it. I guess I'll have to. Let's start with Vasquez.
Oh, okay.
His $2 Super Chat. Trade DK for Myles Garrett. You know, funny enough, we actually have mentioned that as, we've talked about a Myles Garrett trade, and what I did say was that if they trade for Myles Garrett, then that pretty much guarantees they have to trade DK because then they would need some draft capital for what they would lose for Myles Garrett. So maybe DK gets thrown in a potential trade package. I don't think that's actually a crazy thought, Vasquez. What do you think? Myles Garrett to Seattle? You like that idea?
I don't know if the Browns accept that, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
I mean, you obviously have to throw in a lot more.
Yes.
That's not going to be a straight-up trade, but it's an interesting idea. Lockett fan with a $20 Super Chat. Scrape the mold off the Jell-O shot and drink it. All right. Tell you what. I'll go get the Jell-O shot, and we'll get to our final segment here in just a moment. Our DK Metcalf trade destinations. While I am gone and getting the Jell-O shot, Alper, I'll make another deal. Every $5 super chat that comes in while I'm gone.
Ooh.
I could be gone for 2 minutes. I might be gone for 5 minutes. Depends on if I go use the bathroom. Every $5 super chat while I'm gone, I'll take a shot.
All right.
And we are over halfway to the boot, by the way, with one segment to go. We're at 161. We got to get to 300 to get to the boot. So I'll be back. Alper's going to hold things down.
Should I go stand up there, or
You can hang out right there. Put yourself in the big box or whatever.
I don't think I know how to do that, but I can figure that out.
You can hang out up here if you want.
It would look better.
It's up to you. I will be back, and when I come back, every $5 super chat, I'll take a shot for how many that come in. And let's see if we can make this boot happen today. 161. We got a ways to go, but it can be done. We've seen some crazy stuff happen in this show before. I'll be right back. Alper's going to hold things down as we continue here on Seahawks Today. Here's Alper. Yes, and the Bean Boozled I got to take care of too.
Taking over for you 12s.
For you 12s. How we doing? You get to see me up close and personal now. My fantasy name, Seahawks number 1. I know there was someone in my fantasy league, and their name was Run the Damn Ball. Run the Damn Ball. They were also a Seahawks fan. I think you guys could agree on that one. Jason says, many teams take a step back in order to take multiple steps forward. Washington did it in 2023 by playing 5th-round pick Sam Howell, then drafted Daniels and went to the NFC Championship game. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a gamble. James made $20 or $50. $50, not 20. We already did. Oh, there goes the computer again. Are we still live? Computer is doing some things today. $50 and I will do a beer bong. We still have the Millers. We got an unopened one right here. $50 super chat, and I got you with a beer bong. You can see how much faster I am than Mr. Jones. I can tell you guys I'm a lot faster. Spoon Diddy, how we doing? Still think he's better than everybody believes. He's shown that he can't read a defense that well. That's just about it. He's got a good arm, good accuracy. He showed a little bit of talent. Teddy G. That is a good $5 super chat from Teddy G. That is a great name. That's a great name. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. The Seahawks are not going to take a step back. No. Washington, they were borderline awful. That was why they were able to take a step back. They were terrible. They said, all right, screw it. We're just going to tank here because we're only going to win 5 games max. The Seahawks, you're competing for a playoff spot every single year. Him. Shout out to him. DK for Jahad Dotson. Hashtag go birds. Yeah, sure. No chance in hell that trade happens. It's a DK for Jahad Dotson.
Oh, God. All right.
Look at Teddy's super chat.
That's funny. That's a great fantasy name. Team name was Tua Girls, 1 Cup. Wow.
Oh,
Whoa.
I told James.
What did you offer, James?
$50. I'm doing a beer bong.
All right. So Alper's going to do the next beer bong.
Am I doing it here or am I coming up there?
It's up to you. Okay. And that puts us at 218. Now we're making progress towards Das Boot. Here you go, my friend. Oh, yes. The beer bong from James. There you go. All right. Everybody spam James in the chat. Here's the second beer bong of the day.
For you, James.
Cheers. Down the pipe. Burn. A lot of foam. Hey, there we go. Second beer bong of the day. Appreciate you, James. Jimmy. Chugging Jimmy. Thank you, James. Everybody spam James in the chat. That's awesome. Love it. Love it. So let's catch up on those supers, and then we'll do our next segment.
Yes.
I owe one shot, apparently. That's fine. Teddy G. I also, by the way, I did find the Jello shots. All we have left are the syringes. And I had to learn the hard way. You had to take the cap off the Jello shots.
Oh, Lord.
There's the cap. It is off. So I will pay off accordingly, and I'll do the spicy jelly bean here in just a bit. Teddy G says his fantasy team name was Two Girls, One Cup. Very fitting for a fantasy as well. I'm sure that was your fantasy in more ways than one. Teddy G, that's a beer cheers for you. Cheers to you, Teddy G. Thank you. And then him checking in from, Canada. No. F Canada. No, I'm just kidding. Our 51st state checking in. DK for Jihad Dotson. Go Birds. I'm good.
I'm good.
But I would gladly take Canada as the 51st state. Actually, I'd rather have them as a territory, not a state. But I wouldn't mind. And then James with a $50 super chat. Bang! Spam James. James. Thank you, James.
Shout out to James.
James, Alper did the beer bong for you. That puts us at $218. We need just about over $80 to get to the boot, and we have one more segment to go. Now the Jello shot, and then the jelly bean. Oh, boy.
Oh, Lord.
I did take the cap off,
Good.
so we are covered there. Here's the Jello shot, straight from the syringe. Let's have a day. FDK, everybody. Go Hawks.
Oh, I hate the sound. Is it coming? How was it? Oh, it's gotta go down.
That's some old Jello.
That is not going well.
I might get sick.
Oh, man. Oh, that's terrible.
That's bad.
Oh, man.
Oh, but hey, no spillage. There was no bad
spillage.
scene. Everything's clean. Still owe another shot, too. Man, you guys could be effed up today. Oh, another shot.
James Bay says he's going to spew.
I feel fine. I got one more segment left.
Got one more.
We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Main Street Paul, what'd you say? My screen disappeared. Looks like you won't get Burger King when you say FDK. Yeah. No Burger King anytime soon. Why would anyone need a Burger King to begin with? All right. So, what jelly bean will we go with this time? Here we go, folks. So, we have two options here. Is it dirty dishwasher or is it birthday cake? I saw somebody in the chat say it was their birthday. To whoever, I missed the name, whoever's birthday it is, happy birthday to you. What will it be? Dirty dishwasher or birthday cake? One bite, everyone knows the rules. Let's find out. Oh, that's birthday cake.
Oh, you lucky.
I lucked out.
You lucky son of a...
You can call me a son of a bitch. That's fine. Birthday cake.
Be
Very
respectful.
pleasant. Happy birthday to you. Oh, I lucked out. Everything went just fine. No super chat. Michael Hyde checks in. Michael, what do you got for me?
There we go.
Michael says, if we could trade DK to a top 5 drafting team, get their first rounder next year, I'd say this team is bad. We could get a blue chip player and the best free agent with the money we save from DK. Go Hawks. Michael, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but nobody's giving up a top 5 pick for DK Metcalf.
No chance.
No chance. I hate to do that to you, but not happening. Not happening. It's a nice thought, but it ain't happening. I will take a shot to that, though. Michael, go Hawks. FDK, we love Tyler Lockett. You know the theme around here today. There we go. Here's the Super Chat menu. We're at 228, less than 75 away from a boot, which is 3 beers in one. We drink it as fast as possible. And if we get to 500 today, it's a boot race. So we're within striking distance, but we still have a little ways to go. There's the Super Chat menu, $sign next to the chat box. If you want to take part in today's show and make it happen, $5 doing a beer cheers, $10 shots, you get the idea. Lockett fan buys another shot. Thanks for taking one for the team. Hey, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. I'm glad to do it. I'm glad to do it. Thanks for being here with us, Lockett fan. Thanks for being a Tyler Lockett fan and not a DK fan. F DK. F that guy. Cheers to you, Lockett fan.
Just saying that. I'm not a tequila guy.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's a Patron zone.
Tequila. Oh man, I don't like tequila straight. I do like it in a margarita
Oh, I like it in a margarita.
or a ranch water.
You had a lot of those on Saturday.
I did have a lot of those. And surprisingly, so we haven't updated the folks since you've been back here. We told them last week, you and I were going to the NASCAR race
Yes.
in Austin. And we lived to tell. Great time.
Amazing time.
The biggest surprise for me of the weekend, I was not hungover on Sunday. I don't think I drank enough on Saturday night.
Neither did I. We both woke up and we were like, all right, well, we got the day started. And I was like, I don't feel terrible. All right, we're good.
And we both kind of struck out with the women because it was the worst case situation where every attractive girl was with a dude. That sucked.
2025, everybody has a relationship right now.
Except you and I, apparently.
Yep, apparently.
Yeah. And our buddy Will Scott, friend of the show, used to work here at Chat Sports, he said that's his ongoing prop in the city of Austin. Every girl's got a guy. Every girl. The one, now, I'll say this, not every one had a guy, but the ones you wanted.
Everyone that was interested in it.
Right.
And
And there's a difference.
Oh, holding hands. Oh, here comes a guy from the bathroom.
Yeah. Terrible timing. Sucks for us. 237 in Super Chats right now. Got to get to 300 for a boot. I got one more segment to get to. It is our DK Trade Destinations video. I did not want to have to do this video, but I'm left with no choice. First time Super Chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 do a beer cheers. $10 take some shots. $20 get being boozled. $50 do a beer bong. And if we reach 300, which we are just over, what is it? I'm not a math guy.
62?
$62?
$62.
$62. So now you guys know $62, and it's got to be before the end of the show, and we have one more segment left. So the clock is ticking. If the 12s can make it happen, we'll see if you guys can deliver. Tick, 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 like
Chris Berman.
Chris Berman, yeah. I think the Sunday Scaries with 60 Minutes,
Oh. After the 4 o'clock CBS game.
Jim Nantz says, tonight on 60 Minutes, find out this cold case about a killer in Africa.
I don't know, Jim. I
I don't know, Jim.
don't know, Jim.
I don't know if I'm going to be watching that cold case about that killer in Africa in 60 Minutes, Jim. Oh, man. DK Trade Destinations, our final segment coming up next. And still time to get to that boot. We got just over $60 away. See if you guys can make it happen. All right. DK Trade Destinations. To tell you about where DK could end up if he is dealt. We'll do that in our final segment as we continue here in this live edition of Seahawks Today. Jonesy and Alper here with you. Glad to have you with us. Thanks for being here. Let's continue here on Seahawks Today. I'll be honest. I didn't want to have to do this show, but I'm left with no choice. DK Metcalf demands a trade. Where could he potentially end up? On this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, we will break down the top trade destinations for the Seahawks wide receiver of where he could end up if he is dealt. Before we do, we have a sub-battle going on between now and the start of the draft between some powerhouse channels here at Chat Sports within the NFC. 49ers report, Chase Sr., scumbag, can't stand him. We want to beat him in this sub-battle. Cowboys report, led by Tom Downey. I heard he's a loud snorer, and I would love to put him to sleep and win this sub-battle this week. So, let's do our part. We already got a head start. We're up, but let's run up the score a bit. For daily Seahawks news and rumors, live shows. We're live for the first 3 days of free agency, folks. You got to be subscribed. You ain't alive if you ain't subscribed. Sub it up. You'll be glad you did, and we'll get started with today's show. So where could DK Metcalf end up if he is traded? Well, let's kind of tell you how we got to this point, first and foremost. DK, he's had a good run with this Seattle Seahawks organization as he was picked in 2019 out of Ole Miss. And I got to tell you, I'm a big DK Metcalf fan. I love DK Metcalf. I don't want him to go anywhere. It's been a very good run for him in Seattle. 2 Pro Bowl appearances, the second-team All-Pro in 2020. Set the franchise record for receiving yards in 2020 with over 1,300 yards. He has been consistent over the years, folks. He's never been a superstar, but he's never been bad either. He's been dependable. You can see the statistics. This year, even when he got banged up a bit, he still ended up with nearly 1,000 yards. And whether it was Geno throwing him the ball or Russell Wilson, he has been extremely effective for this Seahawks team, and I would hate to see him go. With that said, if you trade him, you're likely not going to get a whole lot for him. That's part of the reason why I don't want to trade him, is that you are looking at best, maybe a second and a fifth-round pick to move on from DK Metcalf. If you would have traded him a couple of years ago, you could have gotten a first-round pick. I feel like the time has come and gone to trade DK Metcalf at this point just because you're not going to get the return you're looking for. I'd rather just pay him the money to stay around. And just because you've put in a trade request does not mean you're necessarily gone. This could be a negotiating tactic on Metcalf to get the deal he's looking for. I think the projection right now is about a 4-year, $110 million deal potentially for DK Metcalf. And if you're Seattle, you got about $45 million in cap space that you've opened up. With the moves that you've made, you can afford to pay DK Metcalf. I'd rather pay him and keep him than to see him play elsewhere, personally speaking. Should the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options here. You can type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Get in that comment section. Let us know if you should move on from DK or not. Let's go over the trade destinations. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers. There was a rumor last week from Corbin Smith pointing to the Green Bay Packers and a potential first-round pick and getting one of the Packers receivers. And obviously that did not ultimately work out. But nonetheless, it did cause quite a stir. And I'll say this. One of the silver linings with the Packers, if you were to make a trade with them, whether it's a guy like Romeo Doubs or another one of their young receivers, they have some assets that you can get in a trade. Not only could you potentially get draft capital, but you could get a replacement receiver since you would have to replace both Metcalf and Lockett. You could make life easier in that sense, whether it's a guy like Doubs or somebody else. So that could be intriguing for Seattle. And not to mention, you have the relationship there with John Schneider and the Green Bay Packers organization where he previously worked. So a trade could certainly be possible with Green Bay. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs. There was a report out within the last week or so that the Chiefs are very interested in DK Metcalf. And if you recall, the Chiefs a few years ago, they drafted a guy named McCole Hardman over DK Metcalf. And they still live to this day to regret that decision. And if you remember the report from ESPN's Adam Schefter, when he announced the trade request from DK, he said that DK wants to play for a contending team. I can't think of a more contending team than the Kansas City Chiefs, who are in the middle of a dynasty right now. They've won 3 Super Bowls, but they don't necessarily have the type of receiver that DK Metcalf is. Rashee Rice is very good. Xavier Worthy is coming into his own, and he had a good rookie campaign. DK Metcalf could bring something different that those receivers don't offer and make that Chiefs offense even more explosive. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you're thinking to yourselves, we were just one win away from getting a Super Bowl title. Could DK be that difference maker? Maybe the Chiefs are willing to overpay potentially for DK Metcalf because they know how close they are. Where will DK Metcalf play next season? Will it be Green Bay? Will it be Kansas City? Is he going to be back in Seattle or somewhere else? Get your predictions in now where you think DK Metcalf is ultimately going to end up. We got hats on sale now for up to 50% off. All supplies last at chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. Got the flat bill version, got the baseball cap style, all sorts of different hats for your liking, and it's all in one place. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. You can see these hats we have on your screen, and we have plenty of others to choose from as well, in addition to Seahawks merchandise of all sorts at chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. So what are you waiting for? Get yours today. Chatsports.com/Seahawks hats. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Another team that has been linked to DK Metcalf is the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots, not a contending team like DK Metcalf is looking for, but he does not have a no-trade clause. So ultimately, the Hawks do not have to honor DK's request to go to a contending team. New England, they got plenty of cash, a lot of cap space to use. They have a young, emerging quarterback there in Drake May, who I think the world of. I think he's going to be a superstar in this league. And you give him a good receiver in DK Metcalf, that could be pretty interesting. And not to mention, you talk about draft capital. If you're Seattle here, of the teams we're talking about, New England's going to be picking the highest of anybody of those teams out there. Their draft picks are going to be better than other teams. New England could make sense for Seattle. Maybe not make sense for DK, but it could be a nice return for what Seattle could be looking for in a haul. Up next, they tell me nobody circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. Let's go to Buffalo now. Josh Allen coming off an MVP campaign was very good this year. You have some interesting weapons there with Shakir and Knox and Kincaid and others, but you don't necessarily have a go-to receiver. I don't think Shakir is that guy. DK could potentially be that guy, and that's a team, they need wide receiver help, and they feel, much like Kansas City, they're a player or two away. They potentially could be willing to overpay for DK Metcalf in his services, but they're not going to be picking high, unlike New England, so that could make things more difficult for a trade there if you were to send him to Buffalo. What are the chances DK Metcalf ends up returning to Seattle? What do you think? Can the Hawks ultimately get a contract extension done? Scale it for me in the comment section, 1 through 10, how likely you think it is. I would say it's about a 4 out of 10 right now. It's not impossible, but still unlikely at this point. I'll go 4, about 40% would be the number I'd put on it. Give me your number in the comment section. Last on our list, trade destinations, the Las Vegas Raiders. And you look at the Las Vegas Raiders. Pete Carroll is there. They need a lot of help. And Pete already has brought in some of his former assistants. He and DK had a great relationship. There's been potential talk of Tyler Lockett going there as well. Maybe Pete just gets the gang back together in Las Vegas and creates a union with Pete Carroll. I think that's certainly a possibility that he could end up there with the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders then have the best receiver they've had since they moved on from Devontae Adams, and they get a receiver that's actually younger than Devontae Adams. So those are the teams I'm watching for. I think the Chargers are also another possibility as well. Plenty of teams that will have interest in DK Metcalf. Let's see where he ends up. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today for the latest happenings on your favorite team all offseason long. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. All right. Chances DK returns to the Seahawks. How would you scale it? 1 through 10. Murder Beast says 9. Alper rejoins you right now. Alper, what would be the number you put on? I said 4.
I'm going to give it a 5. I mean, it's
You think it's 50-50?
brand new. You have no idea what this could be 3 days down the road. Or, I mean, free agency starts Monday. You have no idea what is going to lead to in the next 5 days. Right now, I'd get a 50-50. He's still in the Seahawks. He just requested the trade. He's probably like, I want to get the extension. Let time take its place and let him kind of go through the motions. All right, let's see what my value is. But right now, 50-50.
Michael says 9. Matthew says 7. Nate says 3. Asher says 5. Raw Hector says 6. Peter says, Tyler, can you play receiver? I may have gotten in shape, but I'm still slow as hell. You don't want me playing receiver. I got hands, I can catch, but I'm not getting downfield. I'm going to be a possession receiver. I'm going to get tackled almost immediately. You don't want me playing receiver. But chances DK returns, Asher saying 5, Raw Hector saying 6. Okay. So we have been on the air for an hour and 43 minutes. It has been a fun show. And here's the deal, folks. Let's get back to the Super Chat menu. We can keep this show going. We can keep talking about DK, Tyler Lockett, whatever is on your mind. But you guys got to do your part to keep this show going. We are at 238 right now in Super Chats. We got to get to 300 to get to a boot. And believe me, I really want to get to a boot today. But you guys got to help us make it happen. So here's what I'm looking at, folks. If we get a Super Chat of any amount, then we'll stay live. We keep the show going.
All right.
And we can answer whatever questions you got. If we don't, then we'll sign off. And Alper and I have plenty of work that we need to get done. So it is up to you guys. Super Chat of any amount. If we stay live, we keep the show going. If not, we sign off and we will get out of here. People in the chat are telling me there's an update from Jordan Schultz.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. He tweeted an hour ago at 2:09 Central Time. He said, DK Metcalf is expected to draw interest from multiple teams, but dating back to last offseason, the Chargers were the one team that quietly but aggressively pursued him in trade talks, only to be rebuffed by Seattle. The Chargers remain in the receiver market this offseason.
Okay. So that's a team to watch. The LA Chargers. 30 seconds on the clock. Super Chat of any amount. We'll stay live. Otherwise, we'll sign off. Let's see if you guys can keep the show going. We're close to a boot. I would hate to leave this close to a boot.
We're so close. So close.
I mean, we still have 130 people in the building. I know you guys want a boot. I know you guys want it. But we got to get there. We have to get there. We're just over $60 away. I mean, think about this. You send in a $65 Super Chat right now, you're getting a beer bong and you're getting the boot. But it's got to come quick. Clock is ticking.
Time's running out.
Time is running out. It's 3 beers in one. We drink as fast as we can. If not, we got to sign off and go home and call it a day. Up to you guys. See if you keep the show going. All right. So, Alper, now that we've discussed everything, give me your predictions. Where do Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf play next season?
Tyler Lockett's a hard one. I'm gonna guess DK. I could see him going to the Bills. They need a wide receiver. And you said it, I think DK could go to the Bills.
Okay.
I don't know if they can afford it, though, but they can always move around, cap. Anything's possible. Tyler Lockett's a hard one. Could the Rams, I know they just got rid of Cooper Kupp, or they're getting rid of Cooper Kupp, could they sign him to a cheap deal and put him next to Puka Nacua?
Ooh. I'm going to go with, here's the teams that I predict. I'm going to go DK ends up with the Packers.
Packers, okay.
They get that receiver Jordan Love's looking for, and the Seahawks get a receiver in return. And for Tyler Lockett, I'll say he ends up in Kansas City. Gets to play for the team that his dad played for. He grew up rooting on. He's from Tulsa. That's one of the closest teams to him. I think he has a homecoming with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they need some receiver help.
I really like that. Yeah, homecoming for Tyler Lockett. I also think the Patriots could be in the big market for DK Metcalf. With the amount of cap space, they have over $125 million in cap space. They could easily pay DK Metcalf and still have enough cap space to where it's not going to hurt them.
All right. I'm not seeing any super chats come in, so apparently you guys want us to sign off. A lot of fun today.
Yes.
All things considered, I know that this is a tough day. Moving on for Tyler Lockett and then potentially DK. And at the very least, I'll say this, even if things work out, if DK does end up signing an extension and coming back, I'm still not going to be happy with how he handled this.
No.
I think that's an unforgivable sin of what...
People are going to ask him about it whenever he has media availability.
Like, not only did you put in a trade request, but why did you have to do it within 30 minutes and taking away from Tyler Lockett's moment? That to me was so disrespectful, and I'm going to hold that against DK for a long time, even if he does come back. Appreciate y'all being here. More coverage at the channel all week long. Live shows next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for NFL free agency. We will see you then. For Brett Alper, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. So long. We'll see you next time.